Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Di, and today is the start of another diary entry. Today, we are starting another reading vlog, and that reading vlog I think is going to be focused on more like holiday rom-coms. I think that's the theme. But you know, these things can always go off the rails. So, I have actually finished a book already before I even came to talk to you about it, because that's kind of how quick it went. And so I figured I better start off this reading vlog before I read any more and not be here to introduce those books to you for. So the first book for this reading vlog, again, already finished. It was Lovelight Farms by BK Borison. So this is one that I've kind of been holding for this time of the year. Very kind of holiday-ish Christmas tree farm owner. She enters a social media influencers contest to try to win a chunk of money because her Christmas tree farm is not going as well as she had hoped. They're having a few problems at the farm. Money is tight. And if she can win this contest, it will basically solve all her problems. Unfortunately, she added another problem to her list of already ongoing problems. And that is the fact that when she applied for this contest, she had said that she owned the Christmas tree farm with her boyfriend. She doesn't have a boyfriend. So she loops her best friend into fake dating her for the week so that she can hopefully win this contest. And so I really enjoyed this one. You might remember that earlier this year I read another BK Borison book, my very first one, called First Time Caller. And that's kind of a Sleepless in Seattle kind of inspired story about a single mom and a radio show host. And I really enjoyed that one. So I was really excited to get into this one. And I really enjoyed this one as well. I thought it was really cute. Best friends, kind of fake dating. And then, you know, finding out the feelings are real type of thing. Holiday vibes and lots of community, like kind of supporting them and the Christmas tree farm itself. And just really kind of getting on board to support our main character. It was really, really nice. I do find that, you know, BK Borison's stories, at least the two that I've read so far, have kind of a formula. And I enjoy that the like kind of third act kind of conflict scene that comes up doesn't last for very long, and it's not like super serious. And no, we're kind of dealing with adults, so they do kind of confront things more swiftly, and so it kind of keeps the story moving, and I do appreciate that. And so yeah, I listened to this one in combination with reading an ebook copy, and I enjoyed both experiences. I will say that the narrator, though, for the audiobook did kind of get out of character every once in a while. I do feel like, especially with the male main character, I could hear where the character kind of broke, couldn't like maintain the same kind of voice kind of acting for the male character. But even with that, I still enjoyed listening to the narration. So yeah, I did end up getting through this book rather quickly. And that's just because our internet was out one day. And so I ended up having to go to the office to work. And then when I came home, the internet was still out. And so I just kind of ended up listening to the audiobook and knitting for a few hours. And yeah, it was a really nice kind of break. I haven't really done that in a long time. Just listen to an audiobook and knit. And so it was really nice. I enjoyed it. It was a good story. I enjoyed the story a lot. I enjoyed the characters a lot. And this is the beginning of a series. So I'm glad that I enjoyed the other characters, because the next book, I believe, does follow one of the other characters that we were introduced to in this book. And so I ended up giving Lovelight Farms 4 stars, and I'm looking forward to reading the next one. That being said, I did not jump right into the next one as far as this like kind of reading project goes. So the next one I actually jumped into was A Merry Little Meet Cute, and I am borrowing a copy of this from my library digitally. I don't have an audiobook copy at this time, but I am reading an ebook copy from my library. This is the first book in the Christmas Notch series by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone. So this one kind of starts off kind of funny. It's about a guy who, well, it opens up with a guy. It's not necessarily about this guy, but it opens up with a guy who does film. He's a film producer, but he does both X-rated films and like for general public type films. And he is kind of working on this film for a channel that's kind of like Hallmark. So a very like above board kind of clean romance. It's a Christmas romance film, and disaster strikes when several of the production crew get injured in like an accident, and then the main actress that they hired also gets very sick and hospitalized. And so they're rushing to kind of fill the position so that the filming doesn't get pushed back any more than it needs to be. When they're looking for actresses, one of his X-rated actresses' headshots gets into the folder of actresses they're looking for by accident, and actually is the one that people are very interested in hiring to replace the previous actress. And so it's kind of this big like secret where this actress is, you know, like doing X-rated film, and she has like kind of what seems like an OnlyFans, I think, kind of account where she does things there and has a community, and that's kind of how she makes her money. And so she gets hired to replace the main actress, and we're kind of following her. And she has always had aspirations to do film, like regular, non-X-rated film work. I never thought that she'd get the opportunity to do so. And so this is kind of her big break. And what makes it even better is that the actor that she's acting opposite of, she's a big fan of. He is an ex boy band member, one that she was very much a fan of. And so it's kind of a dream kind of job for her. And so we kind of follow her and her getting ready for this job where I am. And then we follow him and what's been going on with his life since his stint in that boy band, and the troubles that he's had in the spotlight since then, and him kind of trying to get another break in the industry. And so we're kind of switching off from chapter to chapter between their POVs. And I'm really only like 3 or 4 chapters in so far. This has been kind of a slow going read for me. And I think it's just because we just had, you know, the holiday, and with my big move to my new job and everything like that, I just haven't really been inspired to pick up a book before bed the last few days. I've just kind of been really exhausted. Plus, my allergies have been really bad. And lately, my allergies are not sneezing anymore. It's a lot of coughing. And so I've been coughing a lot. And so it's just really kind of taking it out of me. I've been really, really tired. And I'm not getting a lot of sleep at night either, because I am up every couple hours coughing. And so I think that's probably why. It's not that I'm not interested in the story, because I think the premise is kind of funny, and it's been really interesting reading both of the characters. I'm really interested to see like what's going to happen when the ball kind of drops. The other kind of thing that is mentioned in the summary, so I am going to mention it here, and you do find out, I think in the second chapter of this book, is that the male lead in this story is a member of our female characters kind of like OnlyFans account. So he's already a fan, and so he knows that she's, done X-rated work. And so that's kind of funny. I found that to be rather interesting. Also, the other production members that they have hired come from this guy's X-rated production company. And so I guess not all of them know that they're working on like a Hallmark movie and not an X-rated film. That's kind of the feeling I get from one of the scenes that I just read. So multiple things could go wrong in this scenario. Just seems like it's going to be really funny, maybe kind of sweet, kind of romance, maybe, hopefully. But we'll see. I'm enjoying what I've read so far, but again, I'm very early into this book. So I'm reading that one on my e-reader, borrowed from my library. And then the other book that I started is an audiobook. And that is the Highland Hearts Holiday Bookshop by Trisha O'Malley. This one is dual narrated. And so it's about a woman who ends up inheriting a bookshop from her aunt, I believe, in Scotland. And she is not happy doing what she's doing. And she has a terrible boyfriend. And something happens at the beginning of this book before she gets the news that she's inherited this bookshop, which just is like the catalyst basically for her picking up her life and moving to Scotland and trying to make this thing work. And that's pretty much where I'm at right now. She's in Scotland. She's just gotten to the bookshop. She's met a dude. And that's kind of all. Like, this kind of book club has come to the bookshop, even though the bookshop's not really open yet. Not quite sure what that's about, but they seem to be like really nice older ladies, kind of just like welcoming her to the town and things like that. From what I gather from the summary, there's going to be some kind of like magical element there, but again, I'm not very far in. I think I have 5 chapters I've listened to, but the chapters seem really short. And the narration, like I said, is dual narrated. The male narrator has a Scottish brogue. And so that's really nice to listen to. However, I'm not convinced that I'm going to like the male character. Immediately, like, his first thoughts of our female character are sexual in nature. And that kind of already gave him minus points in my mind. No. I'm not enjoying that as a first impression for our male character. So I'm not sure about this one, to be honest. I'm not like immediately hooked into this story, which is upsetting because I really enjoy the narration with the brogue. But the characters and what's been going on so far and how he looks at our female character, I'm not enjoying. So I'm probably going to give it another afternoon. I do listen to my audiobooks during my lunch break. And so I'm probably going to not like pick this one up over the weekend and just wait until Monday and continue to listen and see how I feel after that day, and then assess as I go with this one. But this one was on kind of a Hoopla kind of featured section for holiday stuff. And I thought, oh, let me check it out. It's got a bookshop, right? It's in Scotland. Kind of things that are like ringer things for me, where I'm like, yes, yes, yes. But the story didn't kind of impress me so far. So we'll see how this goes. So far, really, almost all of the men in this book that have been introduced, from the previous boss that she had to her boyfriend that she had to now this dude, I haven't been impressed with any of them. None of them have redeeming qualities to me. And so I'm not sure that that's the kind of character that I want to read about, even if they kind of change, throughout the story. So yeah, not the best first impressions on this one, especially with the men in question. But I'll give it another afternoon and we'll see what I feel like after that session. So that's everything I'm reading right now. I don't know if there's going to be any B-roll to share in this one again, just because we're heading towards the end of the year right now. And with the beginning of the year busyness, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to be doing. But the only thing I can confirm that I'll be doing is working. And so I won't bore you with any of that. But if there's any B-roll to share, I will definitely do that. And so you can hear my voice is going because I have been coughing. And so I think that's where I'm going to leave you for now. So I'm looking forward to the planned reads I have, the reads that I already have going. It so far has started really well. And so I'm really, really excited to hopefully have some hits here at the end of the year and close out the year with some really interesting and entertaining books. And so with that, I hope you're all doing great, and I will talk to you later. Hello. So, I'm here to wrap up this reading vlog. I finished a couple things since I talked to you last, but things didn't go as planned, as, usual. So, I had mentioned to you that I was finishing A Merry Little Meet Cute by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone. That's the first book in the Christmas Notch series. And I really enjoyed it. I listened to some on audio and I read some via ebook, and I enjoyed both experiences. I thought the story was really cute. It was a little bit spicy for my tastes, but I think it fit well considering our characters and their history and what they were doing as a profession and things like that. I really enjoyed the whole ex-boy band kind of angle that they were going with. And I'm looking forward to continuing with this one because I believe the next installments follow other characters. And while I'm not usually a novella reader, I believe the 1.5 in this series follows two of the non-boy band members that we're introduced to in this first book. And I'm curious to see what happens with them because, yeah, something happened or something, happened in this book regarding those characters. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing how that all plays out with those characters. And so, yeah, pleasantly surprised, really enjoyed that one, and looking forward to continuing and experiencing all of the other characters' stories. Now, more things didn't go as planned. So it started kind of going off the rails with this book because my loan from the library actually expired. I was holding on to them thinking that I was going to be able to get to them far sooner than I did. And so this book expired, and so I had to find another copy from another library source that I have, because I do have multiple library cards. I have 2 library cards. And so the other library, there was a wait, but it was only a 3-day wait. So I did have some extra time in between for me to continue with that one. So there was a little bit of a pause in the reading with that. The Highland Hearts Holiday Bookshop, I believe I told you I had started listening to, and I was kind of unsure about whether or not I was going to continue with that one. That one also expired on the same day. And again, I thought I had more like time, I guess, with that one. I didn't realize I had borrowed it at the same time as A Merry Little Meet Cute, but they both expired, and so I was kind of stuck. Now I am borrowing Highland Hearts Holiday Bookshop from Hoopla through my library, and I did have a couple of loans left, or borrows, because depending on your library, they allot you a certain number of borrows to use throughout the month. So I did have a couple, but I wasn't sure if I needed to use it on A Merry Little Meet Cute or something else. And so I decided to wait until the very last day of December in order to figure out what I was going to do with the borrows. So I did decide to go ahead and re-borrow Highland Hearts Holiday Bookshop. And I will not be able to finish it before I finish this vlog, because like I said, I am going to wrap up this vlog here just so that, one, it's not as long, and two, I think it's going to fit well with what I'm planning to read next. And so we'll continue with my thoughts on that one in the next vlog, or the next diary entry. But in those days where I was kind of waiting for my next reborrow of A Merry Little Meet Cute, I did decide to go ahead and read 2 volumes of manga, just so that I wasn't like not reading. And I decided to finish 2 series that I've been kind of reading. One is kind of a new one, and one is one that I've been holding on to this last volume for quite a while because I just didn't want the series to end. So I decided to go ahead and finish 2 series to finish out the year. And so I'll talk to you about those right now. I finished My Secret Affection by reading the 2nd volume of this series. So if you were watching my manga advent calendar project during December, I read the 1st volume for one of the days for that project. So in this series, a meteor hit the world, or several meteors hit the world about 30 years ago, and ever since then, only homosexual relationships exist. And so we're following these 2 kids here on the cover. They've been best friends since they were little. And the boy's grandfather is actually an astronaut, and he was in space when the meteors hit. So when he came back, he was kind of known as the last heterosexual. And so we kind of follow little glimpses into the past with them and his grandfather, and, you know, him kind of raising the grandson, but also, you know, spending a lot of time with our female character here. And before the grandfather passes, our female character realizes that she has romantic feelings for her best friend. And so he's kind of the only person that she can confide this in, because it's not the norm in the world at this time. And so we kind of follow her throughout these 2 volumes, kind of struggling with whether or not to tell him, her friend, and also struggling with the fact that if she tells him, she might lose him, and not wanting that, and, you know, kind of pushing him away, but at the same time not wanting to be away from him and things like that. I really enjoyed this series. I am a little bit disappointed, though, because I feel like there was a lot that could have been explored within the storyline. I had a lot of questions after I read the 1st volume, and some of them were explained or answered in this volume, but there is so much more that could have been done with this storyline. I just don't understand why this was only 2 volumes. And with that, this volume is pretty thick. If you compare it to the other volume, the 1st volume, it's much thicker. And so, yeah. Regardless of that, though, I enjoyed what I read. It was very heartfelt. You could, like, just feel for the main character. And I really enjoyed how this all, like, ended. Like I said, there's so much more that could have been explored with this story. But I still ended up giving this one 4 stars. And I'm glad I finally read it, because it has been on my shelves for a while. And so, yeah, enjoyed that one and glad to finish a series at the end of the year. And then the other series that I finished was LDK. So this is the final omnibus of LDK, volumes 23 and 24 by Ayu Watanabe. This one is published by Kodansha Comics and it's rated older teen. So in this one, we follow our two... Oh, there's only one character here on the cover. Our two characters here on the cover. And they, at the beginning of the series, end up living together in the same apartment due to circumstances. So they're both living alone. They're both high school students, and they're living alone for different reasons. And something happens, and they end up having to live in the same apartment together. And LDK is basically living room, dining room, kitchen. And so it's like a studio. So we kind of follow our characters kind of working through that situation that they're thrown into. Our male character here is a very popular person at their school, and she's kind of a nobody. So not only do they have to keep the fact that they're living alone from people at school because it's taboo, the fact that they're living together can't get out either. But as these two live together, the feelings grow and they end up falling in love with each other. And so I have been enjoying this series over the last several years. It's been a really long time that I've been reading this series. I will say that there are some things in here that I definitely do not agree with. Some scenes where I was just like, not on board with what was going on. But I do enjoy our couple's relationship for the most part. They're pretty communicative with each other and handled situations together pretty well. There's a particular scene that comes up really early in this series where our female character's father comes to visit, and he has some of the most hilarious reactions to things, and it just made me laugh out loud. And there are definitely scenes in this series that I can remember very vividly. Even though it's been several years since I've been reading this series, I haven't gone back to reread any of the volumes, but I think it shows something that parts of this series, even though it's been years since I've read them, still stick with me. And I was able to just pick up this volume and get back into the story with our characters very easily and not feel confused or what's going on. I could still remember what had happened all the way up to this point. And I really, really enjoyed this one. So I struggle with a rating on this one because, like I said, it's not perfect. It's not a perfect story. But I really, really enjoy it. I can see myself rereading this one again and again. There are just some volumes in here that are very heartwarming, and you can feel how much they care for each other and the struggles that they're going through, just trying to keep things secret and whether or not to have those feelings out in the open. Our male character has something in his past that kind of gets revealed throughout this series that they work through as well, and there's other characters that you get introduced to, and so it's just a really fun experience, and I really, really enjoyed reading the series. So I think I ended up giving it 4 stars overall. I'd probably give this one 4.5 stars because I really enjoyed how things were handled here at the end. But yes, definitely one of the series that I have really enjoyed over the last few years, and I'll definitely be rereading this one in the future. So 2 more series finished at the end of the year. And as far as reading goes, I think that's all that I am going to talk to you about here. So we'll leave the Highland Hearts Holiday Bookshop for the next diary entry. And to round out this vlog, I've been telling you that I've had some knitting going on. So we'll do a Yarnie update, And then we will open some advent calendars. Okay, so really short Yarnie update. I've only been working on one project since I talked to you last, and that was the entrelac blanket that I've been working on. So I am working this for a coworker of mine, a new teammate for my new position. That position has kind of not really taken off yet. I'm still kind of leaving myself available for my previous team, and the transition has not been going well, and so yeah. But new year, things should start taking off from here. But in any case, I am working this for my teammate's first child. And so I can't remember where I was the last time I talked to you because I was really bad and didn't put in a place marker. But I think I was like over here or something. And so I've done quite a bit. I've done about this much so far. So I'm basically not doing any like yarn management at this point. This is the blanket edge right here. So I just started another row last night. And so I'm working this way. And so far so good. I'm really enjoying how it looks. And like I said, no yarn management. So you can see where the color is changing in the skein. And I think there's more down here, but I'm really liking like the colors and how it's progressing and things. I wasn't too sure, like even with this pop of green, there was only this much green in the skein, and then we have this yellow. And so I wasn't even sure that I was going to like how that looked, but just a little like pop of something, I think, lends interest. And I'm really liking how the colors are turning out. So this is being done in Lion Brand Mandala yarn. This is what I have of my first skein right now. So you can see that I have this really, it's like blowing out. Canary kind of yellow. And then there's like a golden rod. And then it goes back to this like mauve color, which I started with down here. So the colorway that I'm using is Valkyrie. So this is a full skein right here. And it's Lion Brand Mandala, which is a DK 100% acrylic. And so, yeah, I'm just going to, I think, yarn manage once I put in the next skein because I'd want the colors to continue. So I'd probably wind off the yellow and then go to the mauve. However, I am quickly realizing that I do not have enough yarn. I thought I had 5 skeins of this, and I seem to only have 3. So I will need to buy more yarn. And this yarn is so old that it's not available anymore. The colorway is not available anymore. The yarn is available, the colorway is not. And so I'm going to have to find something that kind of matches these colors because I think I'm going to need 2 more skeins. Just with like how long this piece is where I'm at, I don't think I'm going to have enough fabric. I will measure once I'm done with the first skein and see how many like rows I have because I think I need like 30 or something like that, 30 rows to get the height of the blanket that I'm looking for. And so I'm just knitting away. It's kind of really simple the way that it's knit because entrelac is basically you're just working one of these little tabs at a time. And so it only takes me a little while to do one tab, and I don't have to like go until I complete a row. I can just do the one tab and like do something else or just do a couple tabs or whatever. I don't feel the need to like do an entire row before I stop. And so it's been a really nice project. to like keep my knitting mojo going, and I'm really, really liking how it's looking. So looking forward to continuing with this one. I will remember to put in a progress keeper on the yellow so that we know where I am the next time I check in with you. But that's all I've knit on so far. I will say that I have had the urge to cast on something else, but I haven't done so. So I'm just going to try to not give in to that urge to cast on something, because I kind of really want to cast on a sweater for myself. Not that I don't have a sweater already cast on for myself, but you know, you like to have something new at the beginning of the year. In any case, that's all the knitting I have. We do have some advent calendars. And so I had told you back in December that I had purchased a yarn advent calendar and then proceeded to not open it during the month of December. And then I thought, okay, maybe I'll just do it in January, because I just wasn't feeling it. And then December ended and January started. It is January 3rd, the day that I am filming this. And I still don't have the motivation to film and open all of those advent things. So I decided what I was going to do is that we're just going to make this like a half-year long yarn advent opening. I will open one of the advent packages every time I have a diary entry with you. That will extend it. It'll give me a little bit of something, you know, a little pick me up in every video that I film. And yeah, it'll just kind of be an extended gift to myself, I guess. And I'll share that with you as I go through these. So I have 2 advent calendars. I have a yarn advent calendar and I have a stress ball kind of advent calendar. I think they're stress balls. And so we'll do one day every time I do a diary entry this year and just have a little fun with it. So the yarn advent calendar that I bought in 2025 was a Charlie Brown Christmas from Stitchin' with Yarn. So this was a 25-day yarn advent calendar based on the Peanuts characters. This particular box that I got, the version that I got, was with a full skein and a project bag. So we'll go ahead and show you the project bag first, since it was not wrapped. And I absolutely had to have the project bag because look how adorable that is. Basically got Snoopy and Sally and Charlie Brown with the Christmas trees. So this bag is actually from Robin's Nest Knits on Etsy. There's the cleaning instructions, and that's what the tag looks like. Robin's Nest Knits with a Z. Robin's with a Z. And so it's a really, really nice project bag. And I'll open it up and show you the inside. Really nice, sturdy zipper as well. And then the inside, we've got this polka dot fabric with her label right there, Robin's Nest Knits. And there were 2 business cards. And so, very, very happy with this. And so what I'll be doing is storing my minis in this bag as we open. So this one was interesting because normally with yarn advent calendars, the full skein, if you get one, is the last day. But with this one, the full skein was the first day. And so I've got day number 1 here. And I have, this card actually has the names of the colorways on it. So the first day is called Starry Night Sky. It's 100 grams. It says coordinating skein. So let's open it up and take a look. Ooh. Oh, and there's a stitch marker in there, day 1. So we've got a Snoopy on his doghouse, progress keeper, or stitch marker. Very, very cute. And then we have Starry Night Sky, stitching with yarn. Gorgeous tonal blue. It's coming out not as tonally on screen, but like I'm looking at it, like this part here is super dark navy in real life. So there's a lot of tonality in this skein. And so I'm very, very excited for this. Speaking of stitching with yarn and peanuts, Stitching with Yarn is doing a year-long kind of peanuts sock set, yarn club or something like that. Peanuts inspired throughout the year. I just saw the first set on Instagram last night, and I think I have to get it. So I will be doing that shortly after I finish filming for the day. But yes, this is Starry Night Sky. It's sock weight fingering, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 437 yards, 100 grams. So very, very happy with this. And so that is my day one skein. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in this bag. And then we will open our second advent calendar. Okay, second advent calendar is this Nido advent. So it says 24 days of surprises. A surprise behind every door. My mom got this one for me. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what's inside of this one. So this one opens actually this way. And so we need to look for day one. You probably see it already, and I just don't. One is down here. So okay. Oh, look at that. It's like it's a little elf. And it actually looks like a finger puppet. Oh, that is cute. And it is really like soft. So very, very cute. And so that is what we've got for day one. And so, I don't know, should I just put it back in here? I think that's what I'm going to do. We'll just do that. Okay, so that's what we got for the Nido Advent. And I guess I'll show you what my daughter got me the other day. Not that it was a Christmas present or anything, but she was at the mall and she was looking around for more of those Mickey head in the clouds things for me, and they didn't have any more. And so she found this. It's a little Mofu-san. And Mofu-san is something that I definitely got into in 2025 and will probably be into for a while. But this one basically is a little like screen kind of keeper. So you can put it like on your monitor, and it just kind of hangs out like that. It is super cute. So I have it over here on my computer, just kind of hanging out so that I can see it every time that I'm over here. And it's awfully adorable. Totally my colors. And I'm really, really one for the gray kitties. And so, yes, very, very happy with that one. And I think that's pretty much all I have for you today. So, it is a new year. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a like stats and intentions kind of video. I'm kind of debating on it. It kind of depends on how much time I have, really. Kind of, you know, with the job transition, we've got some things going on in real life as well. And so, yeah, if I have time, I'll go ahead and do that. But I think we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. I don't know about, a schedule or anything. I'm just gonna like do what I can when I can because, like I said, things have been stressful. But I'm definitely going to be reading. I'll hopefully continue knitting and have some fun unboxings and openings along the way. So I hope you stick with me throughout the year and we can enjoy doing that together. But that's pretty much going to be it for me today. Let me know down in the comments below what you started your year off with. Are you working on a new project? Have you already read a book that you really enjoy? Have you watched any movies? We just finished rewatching The Hunger Games because I do have intentions of reading the 4th and 5th books, and I just didn't want to put in the time to read the 3 novels, and so we watched the movies instead, which I really enjoy. We finished watching that last night, and then we also watched the Aquaman movies 1 and 2. So those were kind of recent watches we had, but have you watched anything fun and exciting recently? I'd really love to know. And if nothing else, and you'd just like to let me know that you are here, if you could leave me some celebration type emojis for the new year down in the comments below, it would be greatly appreciated and would really help me out. And that will do it for me today. Hope you're all doing great. Hope you're all safe and healthy. And until next time, take care and smile always. Bye.